Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. My name's Eva and I want to thank you for joining me. The coolest thing just happened. I was just recording a different video that just really spontaneously came out for energy sort of balancing within us, spark of life kind of energy, like inspiration and just not feeling so tired and fatigued. And during the healing, during the meditation, this very strong unity with the water of life came through. And here in Taos, the sort of motto is water is life. And that sort of rang through as a kind of really close representation of, unity consciousness, which at all levels is reuniting our awareness, and recognizing our oneness with the forces of all life, with all elemental universal forces. And it was so beautiful. And the ideas of blessing, and blessing and recognizing that sort of blessing is expansion, blessing is reunion, blessing is recognizing our power because it is the reunion of love, which only expands. And immediately after I pressed stop on the video, it started to pour. And I made a short because I just felt so much beauty and love coming through from the earth, from the water is not limited to our planet. and just a recognition and a yes from all of life saying yes when you choose to remember your oneness, when you choose to remember that our life is the same as all life, that life speaks back to you. And it recognizes you, and that's the blessing, and that is reunion. And it's not planned, it's not of our ego, it's of letting yourself be awakened by all life and letting yourself be loved, letting yourself take the time to remember your life, that you are alive and that life is love and that everything is caring for you. When we remove that idea of opposition, which is false, we expand so much into what we're really meant to do. So I really encourage you to check out that other video. It's shorter, it's much more just like vocal code healing, less teaching, but it's very powerful. And the confirmation of that rainstorm immediately after just knocked my socks off, literally, because I went outside. So this is the part 2 of our Release and Receive series, and how relevant, what a synchronicity that this theme is reconnecting to the belief that receiving is the same as creating, that it is the one process. I mean, this is a unity healing channel, so it's always going to come down to that. But God, we love when we are just so struck by the teaching and practice. And I just think it's so important that it's important twofold for what's coming through right now. Number one, this is not theoretical. This is very practical. It's not woo-woo made up shit. This is real, but you have to choose to believe that it's real. The codes do not work in the linear sense of I will get exactly what I'm asking for in terms of dollar amounts or objects or what you think your life should look like. If you let the codes be what they are, if you let the simplicity of life and the true beauty of what life is without your ego's conception of success, you will be alive. And that is the only purpose of life, is to be alive. But we don't remember what that means. And I think that covered both of the two things. This code work is real. It's not waiting for some hypothetical future in which we're going to be different kinds of beings than we are. We are eternal beings. Yes, the physicality will change, but you have to believe that. And don't cling to what you think the change is. Let life be as it is and let all orchestrate from that. And that really feels incredibly resonant to the core of this sort of chapter 2 of this receiving healing series, which is clearing the belief that receiving is separate from creating. We don't create and then wait around to receive the results of our creation. The creation is one. There is no time except for the discrete projection of separation that we made up. So, it's so easy to get burnt out and disappointed and really dissatisfied and angry at ourselves and wallowing in that kind of unworthiness when we feel like we've put so much effort into things and we are so excited about what we're creating and offering, and then it falls on deaf ears, or it doesn't produce the results that we thought it would or that we think we want. I think Spirit's really, really, you're not being punished when those things don't happen. And it's not that you're unworthy, and it's not that you're not doing it right. It could be that Spirit is asking you to receive the benefit of your love, receive the rewards of your own healing in the moment of the offering. To give and to receive are one. So when we do this work, we're really not attached to the old world. The work as I do it is not for the old world. It's to collapse the old world. So we can't do that while we have investment in it. So this is really about reuniting with the creative process as immediate, and as our enjoyment of it and the receiving of the benefit, the expansion, the happiness, the joy is in the making, is in the doing of. It's not in the result. It's not in a product that's outside of yourself that then you offer to other people and you expect to get something back from. We want to reorient this into it being the immediate process. The creation itself is the praise, is the worship, is the enjoyment, is the process, is the life. So yes, giving and being, receiving, one. Clearing this undercurrent that receiving money, support, abundance, X, Y, and Z, objects, whatever, must be earned, must be requested, structured, rather than naturally flowing through your presence and expansion. And we're still really working with these elemental forces and in all of their expansions, all of their dimensional expansions. When we hold the sort of opposite view, that makes it much harder for financial overflow, financial resource, material resource, community resource, all of these things that we perceive to be outside of ourselves. When we hold to the strict belief that they are outside of ourselves, that it's not already one with us, that it's something we have to do more to sort of control the getting of, that blocks us from our awareness of it. It's not something that you don't have that you have to achieve to get, but you do have to practice where your awareness lies. And I know that it's all a bit effusive coming out right now, but it feels very much like this is a very living, breathing transmission, and that all of the ways that it wants to come out right now is very, very much part of the healing. And it's coming through in the heart, it's coming through in the throat, it's coming through in the skin, it's coming out, because so much of the message of this work is like, you are not your body. You are not limited by what you believe is your membrane of where you end and where other things begin. This work is about reuniting with multidimensional, genetic, morphogenetic experience, the whole field experience, the whole elemental force of the universe being what you are, and that we are meant to truly reunite with spiritual technology, if you will, organic spiritual technology, to live in a completely different way than the world that is on fire and falling apart and built on slavery and manipulation and control and violation and all of those things which are an affront to your beingness. We don't cling to that world anymore. We can mourn it, but be careful how long you spend in that kind of energy. To honor, pity is not a helpful emotion. It doesn't recognize, you're not allowing for your vision to see truly when you hold on to projections of lack. And that is in yourself as well as everyone else. Yes, feel your feelings, get out your grief, but don't project littleness. Don't project less than what you are for yourself or for anyone else, because that's not healing. That's further separation. It's a further projection of a false idea of what people are. And we have to understand that in living in time, that feels wrong to us because it feels harsh, it feels not loving, but it's not loving to project a false idea of someone in lack, and that includes yourself. And so it's a process of sort of letting yourself take the time that you need to let go of ideas of sacrifice, ideas of just like ruminating in suffering for the sake of other people, or for the sake of thinking that that like honors them, because it doesn't. But all of the false ideas of the world have us believe that we need to suffer, and we don't. So, and it doesn't do anyone else a disservice to see them in the light of the truth. That just assists the world in catching more of that light. It makes it easier for others to see when you see them in the light of the truth that they are, when you don't project their suffering onto them. Your projection of suffering is an overlay over what they really are. It's an overlay of what you really are. And so all of this work, all of this code, the way that this comes out, is to dissolve the overlays, to allow the truth to vibrate, to ring, to sing, to praise, to worship, to be. And that we all take enjoyment in that is all of our shared abundance. So it's really, really about extending, it's about dissolving limitations, and it's about dissolving limitations on what we will project into the field at all levels, and to just let beingness be. I feel very enthusiastic about this. It's really, really, it feels very alive. I've been working very much with the sort of polarities of fire and water as we see it here. And a lot of sort of Greek and Roman mythology has this sort of fire-water polarity. And I've been reading Ovid, and it's really been revealing a lot by the way of genetic cellular memory, and like a lot of God traumas, because their relationships with gods and goddesses as they projected them in the deity plane, certainly not what I would define God as, but that lives in us still. And so much of the great undoing is the revelation of all of these false ideas and false relationships and deep fear. And the gods treated people like shit, man. They raped them, they murdered them, they mutated them. And when we talk about genetic healing, it depends on what dimensional perspective you're looking at. They're all tied together. But that genetic healing is this archetypal healing, is this deity healing, is this mythological, story, collective unconscious, collective consciousness healing. That's all the same. So whatever you use to sort of reveal that from you can be very, very powerful. Let it awaken you to more ideas, to more connection. A lot of people have talked about this since then, but a couple years ago, this whole idea of like, what is your Roman Empire? That men were thinking about the Roman Empire a lot. Well, it's not just, consciously in that way. It's all very unconscious that we're all kind of still thinking about that because of the way that they deeply, deeply, deeply ingrained relationships with deities and relationships with the elemental forces as being really oppositional and really frightening and really invasive and really compassionate, really not compassionate, really not loving, right? And those compound, and that is a morphogenetic field, and it still exists. And I'm using that example because that's what's coming through for me at this time. That's what I'm interacting with, and I do have that lineage of myself in this incarnation. But, there are myths from all around that echo those same kinds of ideas. So again, don't use what I say as examples as the point. They are examples, right? And so when we talk about financial healing, and because I'm never saying you're not going to receive or that it's not going to physically happen in the way that you want. I'm saying that that shouldn't be the focus, and you should just allow it to be what it is and allow it to come in whatever form it comes. And so when we focus very strongly on saying this is a financial healing, that limits in our own reception of what this healing is, in our own experience of it. It doesn't limit the healing, but it does limit what you're able to see of it and what you're able to experience of it, because that's all within your choice, which is really the point of all of this work, that it's all up to you. It's in your choice. But when we talk about financial healing through the ways of undoing curses or undoing manipulation code or slavery or poverty consciousness, it's very, 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 very layered in all of that information, in all of that alteration, in all of that code, in all of that story that we all carry around with us. So, these things come up to be conveyed because we need to understand how unified we already are. We perceive ourselves to be very separate, but all of this code is running at the same time because there is no real time in a linear fashion. So it's all being carried and it's all being emitted. And when we bring the light of the truth to the situation, then we're able to untangle it and undo it from ourselves in that way. And that's how this all works. So let it. Kinamani nyondo konishini, tanisani taini pian, kanaini ti sandaya toro, hiataya kinam nashini kan saratoko yami kini. Shitista trato yundopo komato shumsokono yutium dokoroatas, shinisan dororo kamasi tishini kini. It's like you're recognize that we are all meant for more. I don't believe there are chosen ones. I believe every single one is called. It's up to you to answer. There's no one that's special. It's the search for specialness and special reward that keeps us separate. Understand that we're all called to a more unified way of being. We're all called to be an example of love. We're all called to be an example of true abundance and true unity. It's not just for some people. And that's true abundance healing, because abundance has to be shared. So while you seek special favor or exchange, a lot of this receiving healing is going to work into that level of exchange, that I've given something of myself, that I've given it away, and now I need to replace it with something else that I have now created an empty hole in myself for. That's not what creation is. It's expansion. It's recognition and then reunification. And so we are bringing through codes to release doubt, to release cloudiness, to release confusion, to release the habit. It is, so much of this code is really neural, is really like CNS, it's really, really expanding into more expanded dimensions of neurology. And so it's reworking these pathways of habit. If you look into neurological research and synaptic pathways and how, these sort of if you walk through the woods and there was no path, but you walk the same way every day, then you make the path where you're walking through it, right? And then this used to happen when I was a younger person and I hung out in the woods a lot with my friends, that the season would change, you wouldn't go out in the winter, and then the path was gone, and then you built a new one because you went a different way, right? So your brain works the same way, and there's a lot of people who talk about this, but that when you think the same thoughts every day, it's gonna form a root. That root physically, as much as physicality physically exists in your brain because you've made it easier, and it your whole body wants to conserve resource, wants to conserve energy and do things in the way that's most energy efficient for you. So that your brain works in the same way, that's included. So when we work in these reunion codes, we work to sort of expand and undo those thought processes that make it difficult to focus our attention elsewhere. But it only works if you believe it and you let it do it for you. Hini amarikana sumsokina shini taya kaya ni panaya no koroko no yontokona sha sunzorotinit. Ana yun shonkonam nakina sandako yonoyun tokoni bayani. Shayatasana kana moru kana sin sondishni kansato. Yanda yinam na torohin sini shini sansakinayat. Sanchiritiata korokinatis niti shamsakina yiniti. Hima indiri oruiti sion so raya sin sikayanto. Himanaya nishini morumdi. Hinikiniam takinindi dionor Rakaya tisoin shini sonzoi sanihini. Himna ya yoro koya sumjako sotoyo sonjakaya sa. Soyun jinindri hioto sonso ish tetra sikini doyamat. Yata sunjokor hitutu ama aya moaraya ya tu umara arakia tayoro kono yosonja. Samasaniantom hini nionzoishi. Sayasini tiento koyamnatisi. Yoptoro hinam nasan yamnaya tiana koyamnotos o ratosum shaya sunjaptia. Kikayonuinoti yanindi omnash sanzanition sokoatuyot. Yayo konoyum shi. Sinikinanoyum tatos, sumsharihini kinatin zinindi toyum nokoro inikini ansai shi dianas. Sini shini toyum natis. Shoyosum zaisom shakina hisini kiam nahinit. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I've talked about this all coming into in a more expanded physicality on the code. It just gets more and more intense as we sort of meet ourselves in this new physicality. It's coming through. But as that happens, it is the undoing of time, right? So you're going to light up different aspects that you might not have been aware of before, and it might come through your body. So it might come through spontaneous physical healing. It might come through a sort of pressure or a more hyper-attuned awareness to where you are feeling discomfort or dis-ease, in order to bring attention to the energetic release of that. Let yourself cry, let yourself scream, let yourself move around, punch dance, move around, just flail, do whatever you have to do, and let yourself feel it, let yourself express it. It's not just about feeling and ruminating in the feeling. It's about releasing it from your system. There's a lot of people who are going to feel very much like they want to do that. And it's very important that we provide ourselves and each other safe spaces to do that. So it's not happening in violence. It's not happening in aggression. It's not happening in negation of other people's will. But that it's happening in a way that is coming through for us to remember our union with each other and our support of each other, because moving through this density is not simple. It's not always comfortable, but discomfort doesn't have to mean evil. It doesn't have to mean that, oh, now I've introduced something very dangerous to myself because I don't feel comfortable after working with this energy. That is a very false dualistic view of things, and that does not assist you in expansion. That's bypassing as I see it. So let yourself be uncomfortable. Let yourself confront things that might feel scary to you. But always do it knowing that there is nothing to fear. There is no death. Evil is a concept that we made up. We have given this world its strict projection of life, and then its opposite being total annihilation and nothingness. We know, if you're here working with this energy up to this point in this video, that nothing is impossible. And so when we are in this dream, we are merely just unaware of our true life. Nothing is happening in creation. Spirit basically just sees that we have kind of put ourselves asleep. It's not affecting God. It's not affecting your true beingness. You are not a being capable of being harmed. You have to really, really accept more of yourself, right? And I said this in the last video, but there's no and but. Like, yes, give yourself grace when you're not feeling good, but don't project yourself in ideas of littleness. And don't continue to solidify in your mind how difficult this process is, because then it will continue to be difficult. Does it take place in time? And does it take practice and effort? Absolutely. But the more you tell yourself this is so hard and this is so not what we are and I can't do this because I'm not like some totally healed being, well then understand that that's your choice. And I'm not trying to be harsh because I still am working through that too. The healing messages are always for me as well. That I'm not separate from this life on earth, and I've come into this life to also learn and teach these lessons. So I understand, and I am always reminding us of this because I also need the reminder, because I feel often when I am working through these things, and especially because I am a healer who heals completely through my physicality, that when I bring these things up from the depths to be revealed, that I can feel myself. It doesn't look like a movie I'm watching. It looks like something and feels like something I'm experiencing right now. So it does take a lot of practice to remain in neutrality when you do that, and to not let yourself be swayed into I'm not healed because I'm still experiencing these things. That's when you bring into your awareness, yes, I am healed. I am already healed because of what God has imbued me with, because I am as God created me, because I am source, because I am creation, because I am one with creation. I am healed. No one is going to come, no spirit, no God, no deity, nobody on earth, no elemental force is going to come and make you believe that. No one is coming to do that for you. You have to take responsibility of anointing yourself in your own mind. Once you begin to claim that, all of the forces of the universe are there. Every single deity that's in alignment with ascension and expansion and enlightened energy. All of those who have ascended into anointing themselves as one, who have taken Christ on as their own identity through this ascension process throughout time-space, will be there as one with you, and you will see yourself as one with them. But it will not happen until you claim that for yourself. And let me be very clear, every single moment that you claim that, even in the moment before and the moment after you didn't, doesn't matter. Every single moment that you claim that, you are that. I really hope that that brings you peace, because I think a lot of people get very overwhelmed with this process. And it ends up kind of forming this spiritual ego that is just more ego. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's not hard to be healed. That is what you already are. It's about claiming, having the strength to claim that for yourself when the physical world shows you something different. And that is a process of constant direction of your mind. But I do also promise that the more that you practice, the easier it gets, because the more that you undo the opposite, the more you undo the belief in an opposite. There is no opposite. It's only that. Everything else is an illusion. And that does take practice, but I have done it. If I can do it, then everybody can do it, because I was born just like everybody else here. So I think we're going to end it there. I hope that this was helpful to you. I'd love to hear your ideas about it. I know these sort of abundance healings are not traditional money healings, but I really believe that these are, I'll say it, more powerful, because they are getting to a level of code that has existed before the idea of money existed, imbalance before the introduction of money or currency into our physicality. So we are undoing from levels before that even existed, and it's up to you to believe if you can do that or not. So this is my offering. I love you all very much. The next video will be visibility, vulnerability, and risk. That shows up making it harder for us to be ourselves, and so we can't enjoy ourselves. So stay tuned for the next video, and I love you all very much. And if you want to work together, all of the ways to do so are linked below. And if you feel so called, you can be a member of the channel, which really helps me out. And we do weekly, more in-depth healings for the collective. And yes, just lots of stuff happening. And I'm so grateful to you all for watching these videos and being here. Please share them with your friends. And that's it. Thanks.